Over to you, Professor Emmanuel.
Thank you, Rashika. And once again, we want to welcome the audience for participating in this webinar. Yeah, in the previous series, we have looked at corporate governance as a process by which organizations are controlled and directed. We have also looked at corporate governance as a structure, that is the structure of the organization, of which the controls of the organization relies on the directors. We have also looked at corporate governance as a system, as a regulation, as a bylaw, as a rule, as a standard, and as a regulation. Today, we are going to look at corporate governance, the legal obligation of directors. Corporate governance, the legal obligation of directors. My slides is not moving. Is it from here? Okay. Now, so today we are going to look at corporate governance, the legal obligation of directors. The board of directors is the governing body of the association or organization. They are responsible for the ultimate directions of the company and the management of the affairs of the organization. The board is responsible for policy making, while employees and to a certain extent, officers are responsible for the executing day-to-day management to implement board-made policies. However, the ultimate legal responsibility for the action and the inaction of the association rests on the board, which is the main point of discussion for today. It rests on the board. Okay, so from the slides, you can see the board in action, well seated and taking their decisions, policies of the organization. Okay, the board acts legally only by consensus, majority votes, and quorum. So when the board meets, they see to it that they form a quorum before they take decisions. Without a quorum, the board cannot take decision. The board see to it that they have the majority number to take certain decisions. Without the majority number, the board doesn't take decision. So from the slides, you can see the board in action. Now, still introduction. Introduction continues. Delegation. The board may delegate authority to any of their officers to act on their behalf. So legally, the board has the right to delegate any of their officers to act on their behalf. And any decision taken by the delegates or the delegated person rests on the board, because they are taking it on behalf of the board. So the board is legally bounded by any decision by the delegated person. Now, we are still on introduction. Members. When we say members, we are referring to shareholders. Members have no management authority, simply because they've given their powers to the directors, the board of directors. So we said members of the organization has no management authority or have no management authority because such authority is what has been given to the board of directors. Now, having introduced this topic, let's look at the legal obligation of the board of directors. And one, duty of oversight. Duty of oversight. The board needs to be proactive in ensuring you have full and necessary information. The board needs to be proactive enough to ensure that they always have full information about the entire organization. As a board and director, you cannot control without full information of the organization. So board need to have a full control of information about the organization, whatever is happening and where, whichever department, whichever area, the board need to have it. The board need to have adequate control system of the organization, adequate control system. To be able to control an organization, you need to have adequate control system as a board of director or as board members. The board members need to have adequate control over the entire organization before they will be able to control. Internal control system. Are they working enough? They need to ensure that they have adequate control over the system. So the board, from the slides, the board is in control, as you could see from the slides. They need to have adequate control over the entire organization. Whatever is happening, they need to know. Then, so that is the duty of oversight. The first one that we look at, the legal responsibility. The first one is duty of oversight. Whatever that is happening in the organization, they need to be on top of it. The board needs to be on top of it. Then look at the fiduciary duty. Is the second one we are looking at. It requires the board to act reasonably in whatever decision that they are taking. They should act reasonably. They should take prudent decisions that will be in favor of the organization, or that will be in the best interest of the organization. Reasonably, is this going to benefit the organization? What are the advantages and disadvantages of these decisions that we are taking? Prudent. Is it going to be robust enough? This decision. They need to look at all these things the board need to look at all these things. The board needs to act in a way that will avoid negligence. The board needs to act in a way that will avoid negligence. They need to act in a way that will avoid conflict of interest, which is very, very important as a board member. You don't have to do things that will benefit you or they will benefit the board, but everything should be in the best interest of the organization. Then fraud. Is this decision going to lead to fraudulence, which will affect the organization adversely? If so, then they need to drop or refrain from that, from taking that decision. This is the second legal responsibility of the board, fiduciary duty. So you see the board in action, taking their fiduciary responsibility, appraising and assessing whether the decisions are prudent enough, whether the decisions are reasonable, whether the decision will not lead to any negligence, whether their decision will not bring anything of conflict of interest, and it will hinder any progress of fraudulence. Then the third legal obligation of the board is duty of care. Duty of care, very, very important. Require officers and directors to exercise ordinary and reasonable care in performance of duty. When you are required to act ordinary, it means your officers and the employees come down to their level. Come down to their level as a board member. Consider them. You see, you should have the feel for them. Care for them in their performances of duty for the organization. You see, discuss with them, know their problems. This is required of officers and directors to exercise. Come get closer to them, be concerned about the employees and officers of the organization. Then second, exhibit honesty and good faith. This is required, duty of care. You should exhibit honesty and good faith. Act in good faith. Exhibit honesty for the organization. So I like this particular picture. From the slides, you could see a doctor taking care of patients. You see how the doctor is very close to the patient. He is giving the patient a very maximum care in exhibiting or in exercising his duty as a medical doctor. He is giving the patient very close. He has put his healing hands on the patients. You see, it means he cares for the patient. The patient is what? Taken care of. The doctor cares more, so he's very close. You see, such is what is expected of directors. Get closer to the officers, get closer to the board. And when you're able to do that, in fact, they will give you the maximum support that you needed. They will give you the maximum support and will tell you things that you don't even know. So directors are expected to get closer to the officers and the employees that they are working with and learn to know much about them. Learn to know much about them. duty of loyalty. Duty of loyalty. See, loyalty is expected of the directors. Duty of loyalty. It is a duty of faithfulness to the association. Every director, every employee, every officer is expected to be loyal to the organization. Officers and directors must give, you see, you shouldn't give undivided allegiance to the organization where you are working. Directors should not give undivided allegiance to the organization or the association when making decisions that will affect the association or the organization. You should give your all. They are expected to give their all. See, let the organization be part of you, and you should also be part of the organization. When it happens so, you take only decision that you give your all, undivided attention. Everything will be the organization. You will be very faithful to the organization. You will not take any decision that will affect the organization adversely. When you look at the second slice, it looks like the couples. They are couples, and they are even on one sofa, if I should say. They are sitting on one sofa, sharing their coffee, and they are into themselves. They are really into themselves. This is what is expected of organization, directors of organization. You should be into the company where you are directing. You should be into it. Give your all. Don't give divided attention. Faithful to the organization, committed to the organization. This is what is expected of directors. And even not, I wouldn't say through all the structure, from directors, management, officers, and employees, everybody is expected to be loyal to the organization. Now, duty of obedience. Here, when we talk of duty of obedience, what we are saying that it requires of officers and directors to act in accordance with the article of the organization, that is the article of association, the incorporation, the bylaws, the governing documents, the laws and regulations, the standard. Everybody is expected, and more especially the directors. You need to obey every bit of this document for corporate governance to be seen working. You need to adhere strictly to these documents. You need to adhere strictly to this document. The bylaws, the regulations, the governing documents, the rules, the standard, the regulations, and everything. You need to be to respect them and work accordingly. So when you look at the picture, let me say it's a footballer and a referee. You see, footballers are always given red card when they don't obey the regulations of the game. So you see the footballer giving a red card. So it is if you are a director and you don't work with your regulations and rules and the laws of the organization, you will find yourself wanted. You will find seriously wanted, because it will go against the organization adversely. And therefore, if you don't take care, it will cause your removal as a director of the organization, because the gentleman has been given a red card, means that he should go off the pitch. He cannot continue the game again because he wasn't obeying the regulations of the game. It's expected of the directors of the organization to obey the laws, the bylaws, the regulations of which they work with. And that will bring a good governance to the organization. Reliance on experts. You see, as a director, it doesn't mean you know it all. Directors, we don't say they know it all. So directors are expected in doing their work to rely on expert knowledge. They can seek expert documents, they can seek expert opinions, even from some of their officers, which will aid their work or performance. They are allowed to seek expert knowledge. For example, like researchers, I can undertake research in medical field. The only thing I need is, in conducting my business, I'm allowed to seek an expert knowledge from a medical doctor. If I'm undertaking a research in the medical field, which is not too much of an area, but I'm a researcher, I should be able to go to every area. I can work with expert knowledge. Wherever necessary, I can seek and advise an expert knowledge from medical doctor to help me complete my work. So it is with board of directors. In the conduct of their business, they are allowed to seek an expert knowledge to help them complete or aid their business or aid their work. So directors are allowed to seek expert. It could be from their own officers, it could be from their own staff, from external bodies. They are allowed to seek expert knowledge. So you see an expert from the slides giving out the expert knowledge to assist the directors. Then the next topic we are going to look at is willful ignorance and intentional wrongdoing. Willful ignorance and intentional wrongdoing. A director appointed as a treasurer, for example, with a limited knowledge of finance, cannot simply rely on representations of and reports of staff and auditors that all is well with the organized association's finance. That is what we term as willful ignorance and intentional wrongdoing. If you are appointed as a treasurer of the board and you don't have the in-depth knowledge that will aid your work, I will advise don't accept it. You can't rely on us. You should be into the finance of the organization. You should exercise your own knowledge because this is a specialized field. So it is required of you to be on top of issues of the organization. You can't simply rely on the reports from the staff and the reports from auditors. What if they are deceiving you? So you are expected to be on top of issues because it's a specialized field. So if you are given that appointment and you know you don't have the knowledge enough, please advise yourself. Because you have to be into the finance of the organization or wherever special field that is needed. You need to be, you are expected to be top of issues. You need to involved. You need to get yourself involved so that you guide the organization well, because you are a board treasurer, and that is where top decisions and top finance decisions are going to. So you should be able to know, give the direction well. So you cannot simply rely on the representations and report of staff and auditors to direct the finance affairs of the organization as a board treasurer. It wouldn't order well for the organization. You wouldn't be able to direct the organization well as expected. And therefore, you put yourself into trouble and the organization will also, you will always not be happy because it's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaos. Reducing personal liability. You see, Directors acting for the organization should ensure that they are acting to reduce personal liability risks of the organization, or in general, anything that will be risks, which is risks that will affect the organization adversely. They should take decisions that will reduce those risks, personal risks, management risks, or risks. They should ensure enough to take decisions that will reduce those risks. So I have something here, complete preparation. As a board of director, you should prepare thoroughly. You should completely prepare before even going to the meeting and make decisions. The board are expected to prepare enough. When that happens, they will reduce personal liability and risks for the organization, because they will not take decisions anyhow, because they are well prepared before they went to that meeting or they go to that meeting. You need to go well prepared. You need to go to the meeting well prepared enough so that you take good decisions for the organization. By so doing, it's going to reduce personal liabilities, risks, and other risks for the organization. So I was using this baker, let me say, meat pie. You see that they were moving step by step, ordinary, to come out with the meat pie that we are seeing over there. You see that it was systematic. They were going so by so doing, I don't think that I'm believing that the meat pie that we are seeing there will be very delicious, because it has gone through so many processes. Sorry, it has gone through many processes. So it is with directors. When they are well prepared and attend the meeting with that, yes, everything will be ordinary, and they are going to take good decisions for their organization. They are going to take good decisions for the organization. We are still on reducing personal liability risks, or risks in general. Actively involvement. You see, as a board member, when you attend the board meeting, you should actively involve in the activities of the board. You have to actively involve in deliberation during the board meeting, comment appropriately, make inquiries appropriately, ask questions where prudent. When these processes are followed by every board member, active is going to reduce personal liability risks of the organization. Anything, it will eliminate any issue that will be a problem from the decision making, that will be a problem for the organization. It's going to reduce all those activities or risks. That is, you see, so you are expected from the slides, you see, every board member is expected to get involved during board meetings. You shouldn't be seen as silence at board meeting. No. It means you weren't on top of issues. You should actively get involved, participate fully. Then, still on reducing personal liability or risks in general, decision making. In decision making, deliberate. You have to deliberate without undue haste or pressure. Deliberations at the board meeting should be without undue haste or pressure. Don't rush to come out with your opinion. Don't rush. Deliberate. Even deliberate about issues in the mind before you come out with. Weigh issues before you talk. Don't talk with haste and pressure. It would other way, and what you come out with will not be something that will carry value and help the organization, and therefore it's going to be a risk for the organization. That is why you need to deliberate without undue haste and pressure. So you see them deliberating seriously before they bring out from the slides. Then still reducing personal liability risks. Accurate reflection. It says that minutes accurately reflect what happens at the meeting. You see, you see to it that meetings reflect accurate decisions at the meeting. If things were voted upon, ensure that the normal and everything are well accurate in the minutes that is brought to the meeting as a director. All these aid the organization in reducing personal liability risks or risks in general, So you see the lady reflecting on issue. You see the light helping her to reflect in issues. So you need to reflect. Then last on the personal liability, reducing personal liability is legal consultation. You see, the board responsibility are more of legalistic, especially the legal responsibility. So in issues that are still not clear on their responsibility, you can consult, legal consultation is required for explanation on certain issue, because this legal responsibility is backed by the corporate law and the law of agency. So where a certain explanations are not clear, board are required to sort legal consultation for explanations on a certain issues. So the board can consult legal personnel as well on explanations of issues where it seems not to be clear for them. They are required to do such consultation so that it helps reduce personal liabilities, risks, or risks in general. So you see the board making consultation from the legal personnel from the picture, the slides. So the board are required to do legal consultations on area of their responsibility that is not too clear for them. Then we continue. Apparent authority. Apparent authority. US Supreme Court determined that an association can be held liable for the action of its officers. That is what we call apparent authority, even when the association does not even know about it, approve of it, or benefit from those actions. As long as the volunteer reasonably appears to outsiders to be acting with the association approval. So the apparent authority is saying that even though you are an officer, you haven't received any authority from the board to act on behalf of the organization. But once they know that you are from this organization and they could see that you are acting on behalf of the organization, whatever decisions that or whatever that happens there, or any decisions that you happy to be taken over there affect the organization indirectly, even though if the organization has not approved it, but you are seen as acting for the organization is legally bounded in terms of any liability. The organization is legally bounded. So as an officers, when you move out, we should know how we behaved should give out a good culture for organization. We should be seen to be behaving well, because whatever decision that we take is going to fall, the liability is going to fall on the organization, even well if the organization knows about it or not. Once you appear to be acting on organization behalf, we are banded. The organization is banded on that. That is apparent authority. So that is the power of autonomy that the organization will be held liable for. The organization is liable for any action or inaction of his directors or officers. Then directors' business judgment. Directors' business judgment. Decision must be made in good faith upon reasonable investigation for a lawful purpose, and in honesty, believe that it is in the company's interest. You see, as a director, you are expected to come out with a good judgment. Your judgment should be seen to be something that is in good faith and is reasonably for the organization. Whatever judgment you are coming out with, the decision must be made in good faith upon a reasonable investigation for a thoughtful, lawful purposes, and in honesty, believed that it is in the best interest. In simple put, whatever decision you are making, you are taking, it should be in favor of the organization. Director's decision must be in favor of the organization. It shouldn't be anything that is going to affect the organization adversely. Director decision, be it in the boardroom, outside the boardroom, every decision taken by the director must be seen as a lawful. One, it must be lawful, and it must be in favor of the organization or best interest of the organization. So this is from the slide. You see how thoughtful the directors, it could be outside the boardroom, but they are very careful, thoughtfully considering issues before decisions are taken. This is what is expected of directors of the organization. Then duty of confidentiality. Directors must maintain confidentiality of the board deliberation and decisions. As a director, decision taking at the board room are left over at the boardroom. Every decision taken at the boardroom are left over at the boardroom. You don't take it to your house. Leave them at the boardroom for the best interest of the organization. Every decision must be confidential, because you are not taking those decisions for yourself. You are taking the decision on behalf of the organization. And so confidentiality must be seen in highest. Confidentiality must be seen in highest. So you see at the boardroom, they are appreciating somebody at the boardroom. All this must remain at the boardroom from the slides. Whatever takes place at the boardroom must remain at the boardroom. We don't take it to our homes and discuss them furtherly with our wives and our children. Whatever decision at the boardroom remains at the boardroom. Then conclusion. What are the examples of ways directors can meet their fiduciary standard for the oversight responsibility? Directors meeting their ways directors can meet their fiduciary. They have fiduciary, they own fiduciary responsibility to the organization. They own fiduciary standard to the organization. They own oversight responsibility to the organization. In conclusion, directors should monitor their general managers, executive officers through recruitment, evaluation, retentions, compensations, total control of the organization, total control of internal control system, total control of the entire organization. And this must be done in reasonably, prudently, and must be seen to be in the best interest of the organization. When these are adhered to, we'll see the governances of the organization at highest. We'll see the governances of the organization as high. I want to say I'm done, and then thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and we'll wait upon your questions. So, Rashika.
Thank you, Professor Emmanuel, for enlightening us with such insightful session. And thank you to all the participants for listening patiently.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with the question and answer session.
Yes.
After that, we'll have a small presentation from Uni Athena. So I would request Professor Emmanuel, if you can switch on your camera.
Oh, is my camera off?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. So the first question we have is from Ivis Paul. The question is, what are corporate governance issues and how to overcome them?
What are
the corporate governance issues and how to overcome them?
How to, please come out again.
What are the corporate governance issues and how to overcome them?
Okay. Most of corporate governance issues that we've been seeing are, one, transparency. Transparency. Yes. Accountability. We found out that the members who have appointed as sometimes feel, even though the members have given their power to the directors, one, that doesn't mean that their interests shouldn't be looked at. The directors should be seen to be working also at the interest of the directors, the members, that is the shareholders. Then they should be seen to be working at the rights of the shareholders. You see, when these things are not happening, or the members are not seen well, they will say there is no transparency or accountability in the activities of the directors. So board must work, one, at the interest of the company and in the interest of the members, and must be accountable to the members as well. The members who are owners, the shareholders, must be accountable. If they are not accountable, then we say accountability. The accountability is at stake, and therefore, yeah, it will create a corporate governance problem. And when things, the way they are managing, 2005, there was an issue in Ghana where one minority shareholder, which is major, has sued the then managing director that, yeah, the right of the shareholders are not seen. You see, yeah, they weren't working in the interest of the shareholders. So one don't sue the directors, or he has called for the removal of the then managing director, because since things seems to be seems to be not to be transparent for them. You understand me? Yes. So when you are not working at the right of the shareholders and at the interest of the shareholders as well as of the organization, you are classified as not to be transparent. So, yeah. And every team decision need to be clear for the members of the or owners of the company. I hope I'm clear. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Professor Emmanuel, for your insights. We'll take next question. We have a question from Ejivel Osho. He asks, can we also say that member of board of directors are effective team builders to enhance the growth of the organization?
The members of directors are effective leaders.
Effective team builders to enhance the growth of the organization.
Yes. The members appointing them knows they have the capability before they've appointed them there. If they don't have the capability, so it is another important area, the qualification of board members. Before you appoint somebody as a board member, one, it's based on specialization. And if you think their specialization will be needed by the organization, we don't just appoint people, just come and be board member. I believe the members sat down and realized their expertise and the qualification is something that the organization may need, and it will help the team to grow. And that is why they have appointed them into those positions. So if you think the person is not have anything to contribute, you don't appoint them. But once you have appointed them into that position, means you know they have the capability to deliver. So yes, the team, the members appointing them knows they are a good team to help grow the organization. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Emmanuel. We have one interesting question from Malson Sipe. He asks, how can conflicts of interest be managed effectively in corporate governance?
Corporate self-interest
be managed effectively in corporate governance.
Yeah, you have self-interest as a board member, as an official. It's a conflict of interest. And we don't have any way of managing it than to drop you having the personal interest in the decision that is going on or the project that is going on of an organization. If you want the good, as you are saying, if you want good corporate governance to adhere to, then you need to drop your personal interest, because it will not help the activity of the organization. Having personal interest as a director, as a CEO, as a manager, even as a staff member, will not help you to be transparent, will not help you to render a good accountability to the organization. It will never, and it will work adversely to the organization. And therefore, you have to drop that personal interest. It will not bring transparency. Thank you.
Thank you for your insights, Professor Emmanuel. We will take one or two more questions. We have Emmanuel Sibalva. The question is, what happens if the board makes a decision that is not in the favor of the employees?
In corporate management, we said that every decision we should have the main decision and alternative decision. You see, so it wouldn't happen that board has taken decision, and if that is why the decisions have to be deliberated and they need to be thoughtful. So it wouldn't happen that board has taken decision, and it will be, if they have really thought and take second look at the decision. It must work. And certain decisions need to have the main decisions and alternative decision. If the main is not working, switch to the alternative, and it will work. It will work. That is why thoughtful, they need to be thoughtful in decision taking. Board need to be thoughtful with their expertise and with their experiences that made organizations to appoint them when they are able to, they don't take hasty decisions on certain things, and they deliberated well on decisions before they are taken. It's at all costs succeed. Even though there are some failures in one or two, but sometimes those failures are not anything that will hinder the progress of the organization. I wouldn't say that all decisions taken at the boardroom are 100%. One or two might fail, but that wouldn't be anything that will bring the organization down entirely. Yes, yeah. There is failure in human decision. Since we are human beings, certain decisions might bounce, but that wouldn't cost the organization so much. Yes, so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Emmanuel. We'll take one last question. We have one anonymous attendee. The question is, what are the skills and values the board of directors must have with respect to corporate governance?
What value? Again,
what are the values and skills the director must have?
Yeah, we have a lot of value. A board of director, one, must not be seen driving. You see, yeah, you need to driving and eating as well. You need to respect yourself. You need to respect yourself. So respect is one. It's value. A board member, you need to respect yourself. Yeah, you should ensure that even though you have appointed, you also have the capability to lead the organization. If you know, even though you'll be given appointment and you don't have the capability, please, you have to be faithful enough to tell them that, oh, even though you've given me an appointment, but I wouldn't be able to lead the organization because of one or two. You understand me? So the capability is one of the values. See, one and two, you have to be ethics must seem to be praying in the life of the board member, both in the organization and outside the organization. Board members need to be ethical. And when they are ethical, they will ensure the entire ethics, exercise the entire ethics of the organization. We have a lot of values, but this is just a few. We have a lot, but this is just a few. I hope you are clear.
Yes. Thank you so much, Professor Emmanuel, for your valuable insights. Unfortunately, we could not take all the questions. So I would like to thank Professor Emmanuel for sharing your valuable insights today for this webinar. I thank you, each one of you, for listening to it patiently and joining today's webinar. I would like to add one statement that let us remember that effective corporate governance and fulfilling legal obligations are not merely legal requirements. They are essential for building sustainable and responsible organizations. Together, let us strive for transparency, accountability, and ethical leadership in the corporate world. So thank you so much, Professor Emmanuel, for your presence today. Thank you so much. I would now like to share a small presentation from Uni Athena. So hello everyone once again. Welcome to today's webinar. And Uni Athena, we are the leading providers into various courses, which I'm going to discuss in detail. Uni Athena, established in 2019, is an edtech company headquartered in UK. Again, we offer online, academic, and free learning short courses in an affordable and flexible manner. As you can see, we have a proud partnership with various universities, UCAM University, SQA, Cambridge International Qualifications. We offer various academic programs like doctorate, MBA, masters, and also we offer various short courses, free learning short courses like diploma, executive diploma, mastering, MBA essentials. Why Uni Athena? So we offer a flexible payment system. Your learning is 100% online, convenient to you, whether you are traveling or doing your work. We have a self-paced learning system. Also, we have a personal tutor connect. So you have a smooth learning journey here. Now, experience course delivery is designed for you, which is 100% online and bit-sized. You will be having a video tutorial for your learning, which will help you to understand your course better and with a lot of clarity. Then you will be having essential readings, which will give you an additional knowledge of your lessons. Then you will be having additional readings. After that, you have various scholarly journals, articles would be shared with you in this particular section. Then we have reference materials. There, a particular topic would be chosen from those lessons, and you will be enlightened with a lot of insights related to your lessons. So if you want to check out all the offerings in detail, you can visit our website, www.uniathena.com. Also, if you want to enroll for any of our courses, academic courses, short courses, you can always reach out to our admissions team. The email ID is being given here, admissions@uniathena.com or fatima@uniathena.com. These are our offices located at United Kingdom, India, and Middle East. So this was a brief introduction about Uni Athena and its courses. I thank you, all the participants, for joining today's webinar session. And a special thanks to Professor Emmanuel TT for sharing your valuable insights. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.